Hey everyone, this is Haley from Cartoon Universe, and today I'm with Michael,
What's up, guys?
and we are going to do, like I've been saying, this is going to be a weekly thing where I talk about the episode that just came out in detail, and today's episode was Mindful Education. And this is actually not as lore-filled as, like last week's or even, weeks prior, but there are some details that I picked out here and there that shows us more. We also get to see a lot about fusion, how that works, and some other cool details. So we're probably going to go through this in order, but we might get sidetracked. But we'll do our best to see what we can find throughout the episode, the best tidbits, and maybe some other secrets. So one of the first things that I noticed, or some other people noticed, is that Connie has Rose's sword. I'm not really sure how that works. Like, who has it? Does Connie always have it, or does Steven also have it sometimes? Because I swear he's like grabbed it out of line before.
That's a good question.
So I just thought that was interesting.
I think
Yeah.
I think it that sword was just handmade, so it's not like a gem weapon. So I guess technically anybody could use it. It's not like the shield, where like you have to be a Rose Quartz gem to use the shield. I think you would just pick up the sword.
Oh yeah, I know, but like, I guess it like whoever has it on them. Like, sometimes we've seen it with Steven have it when we thought Connie like
Oh
would
yeah,
have it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I mentioned that.
Who holds it?
Like Connie brought it to Steven this
Right,
time,
right.
and sometimes we've seen Steven have it
That's a good
just
question.
himself. So
Is
I
there?
think I haven't. I thought,
I guess they just trade
yeah,
off back and forth or something.
yeah, that's what I think. That's the most likely solution or answer to that. And something else I noticed, we get it. Well, so we get to see the hollow pearls again later in the episode, and they can even fuse. So I guess really that goes with this episode being all about fusion.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Is there anything you want to talk about from the beginning of the episode?
From the beginning, not too much. Other than that was a very, very accurate bald cap, and I'm very impressed.
Yes, I was like, at first I was like, what? And people were like, oh, it's an a fusion with onion,
Oh
Steven.
God, that'd be amazing.
I
I
don't know.
want it.
I know you do. But yeah, that was interesting. And then also, I'm glad we got to learn what was up with Connie because from the preview clip that we saw, she seemed really distressed, and we had no idea why. People were saying that maybe she moved or something, or is going to move, which would have been terrible. But actually, it just turns out well, I mean, it's not a good thing either, but she beat a kid up.
Kind of.
So
She just
yeah,
threw him to the ground. No
not as
biggie.
bad as I thought, but just yeah, kind of her instincts kicked in, I guess.
Yeah.
So you gotta do that. But speaking of fighting, Stevonnie, we also learned that Stevonnie can float. And it kind of looks like a little flutter jump, like what Yoshi can do when they flutter. I don't. They
Yeah.
did it twice, so they did it like the same way both times. So that was really interesting.
Yeah. I guess that's the thing. I don't know why.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool. I
Yeah,
like
I like
how
it.
Stevonnie has Steven's powers as well. Like not just because they're human or like a good majority human doesn't mean they don't have the gem powers. So
Yeah.
it's a nice thing to see. Okay, so we do learn a lot about fusions this episode, mostly because of Garnet. She talks about well, she kind of explains what we have been seeing in the past with Stevonnie. Basically, where like in the first episode we saw Stevonnie, and also the recent episode, uh, we know that they kind of have visions or weird. They see things weird when they get distressed,
Mm.
and that's actually apparently a very common thing with fusions. It seems like, or maybe just with Garnet, or a couple of fusions, but it's interesting. Or I like it how it was explained. I thought it was only an Stevani only thing at first, but I guess it's pretty common.
Yeah. Well, that would explain like in Keep It Together, where Garnet was like looking at the corrupted monster, and like Steven was trying to get a hold of her, like trying to talk to her, but she just couldn't hear him. So I guess she was like getting those visions and kind of in her own little dark realm and imagination, kind of like what Stevani was going through this episode.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I totally forgot about that. But yeah, Garnet, that did happen to Garnet, even though we didn't see inside her
Mm-hmm.
mind. Yeah, we can just guess that's probably what it looked like, something
Yep.
like that. And so I believe the song was animated by a different studio. It kind of looked different. I heard.
Yeah, it was Studio Trigger. If you guys know Kill la Kill's an anime, I think they did another one too. I think Little Witch Academia, maybe. But yeah, they're a really good studio. I was expecting this because we heard that they were animating a part of the episode. I thought it was going to be an action scene, but I really like what they did though.
Yeah, it did look nice. And I hope maybe in the future different stuff like that can happen because that's really cool. You don't really see that too often
Mm-hmm.
in cartoons. But also later on, we kind of see, well, in we don't know whose mind it is. We were just talking about this. Who's like, what is happening while Stevonnie and Garnet are in their like, I don't know, I don't even know that other realm. We don't really
Yeah.
know what's going on there.
We knew it was like a Malachite realm, but like it was like Garnet and Stevonnie, and we saw Ruby and Sapphire, and we saw Steven and Connie. So we don't know if they were like melding their minds or if it was like metaphorical. The reason I don't think it was metaphorical was because of the butterflies, which I guess represent different thoughts, negativity and stuff. And Steven literally sees a butterfly later on the on Connie's bag. So that leads me to believe that all that was actually happening, I guess. But I don't know why Ruby was crying. I'm still not sure. Did you get something from that or?
Yeah, what I saw, well, they kind of even paralleled it with Connie and Steven.
Right.
Basically, Ruby kind of gets stuck on one thing that she can't let go of, and then Sapphire is kind of is overwhelmed by so many things all at once because of her future vision, which is paralleling Ruby with Connie, I believe, and with that one thing, and then Sapphire with Steven with all these huge issues that he suddenly has to deal with.
So that was more of like an example rather than actually happening. Because that's where it gets confusing. Because if they were actually melding minds and that was actually Ruby and Sapphire, were they just like acting or were they flashbacking into something else they were going through at some other point in time?
It was Garnet projecting that's what happened to them, or maybe that's just how she thought of it, like how they would act in that situation.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if they literally ever saw butterflies like that. I don't know.
I don't know. That might be a thing. I feel like. Yeah.
I mean, first of all, what are these butterflies? We've seen them before. We've seen them quite a bit. They usually have to do with fusions. I think we see them usually after a fusion start, like after that sequence. I remember I think with Sardonyx we saw it, right? Or some little energy bugs and yeah. And it's really weird. Like you were saying, they represent something like what were you saying?
I think it represents their thoughts, I suppose. I'm not actually sure.
Yeah, I was thinking like that, or like fears, or even but before they were never associated with anything bad. So it's just like maybe fusion in general, or like change because of butterflies. So I thought that was interesting.
Maybe.
Yeah. And then later we get a singing sequence with Stevonnie. So first time they sung, and that was really nice to see.
Sounded really good.
Yes. I can't wait to watch that over and over to memorize the lyrics of that one.
Yep.
Okay, so I also want to talk about what Steven, what he sees, his biggest, fears, or, the things that he worries about currently. Yeah, it's a big point in this episode. So he sees three figures at first, and they start out one of them smaller, then bigger, and then even bigger. And so that first is Bismuth, and yeah, obviously we know what happened with Bismuth.
We don't.
But in this one, it looks like he actually stabbed her right in the gem. Probably that's how he feels. That's how he feels what he did to her. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about this?
Did he stab her in the gem? I thought it was right
below.
Obviously
she is not corrupted. But in this, I think that's just what he feels, how he did what he did to her.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. That's really what all the problems kind of stem from for Steven.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello. Just gonna eat my Skittles now. Haley has been disconnected. We're gonna turn this into an ASMR channel. Steven Universe ASMR. I'm eating Skittles right now with the yellow one. Yellow's not really my favorite, but everyone loves the reds. I like the reds too. They're pretty good. Hey, we're back, everybody.
So Steven sees three figures in, I'm assuming whatever his mind or whatever that is, as Stevonnie, and Eyeball is the biggest one there, probably because it's the most recent thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's really bad because he couldn't save her. Well, he couldn't really save any of these three figures because they didn't want his help, which is pretty sad, but he has to come to terms with that. And then we also see Rose, who, like, is he? I don't know. It's really hard to tell, like, the kind of look that she's making. It's either like an evil look or like like she's disappointed in him. What do you think? What kind of look is she giving him? Do you remember?
I don't know. It was kind of evil looking. I think that has to do with him finding out she's essentially a murderer, and like his image of who his mother was, this perfect lady, is actually just kind of, she's still flawed like everybody else.
Yeah, and he's becoming more like he shouldn't be 100% like his mother. At first, he was supposed to live up to her legacy and stuff, but like, especially Bismuth pretty much started it. But maybe he's starting to think maybe I shouldn't be exactly like my mother. Maybe, and maybe she's disappointed by that or something. 'Cause by that look, I was just looking at like her intentions of that look. I mean, obviously that was not actually her, but
yeah, and that's the interesting things. Like all the other images he saw, Bismuth, Jasper, and the Eyeball Ruby, all had to do with Rose in some way.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. I didn't know. That makes sense. So it's all issues. Everything pretty much is because of his mother, and he has to deal with what she did, and because of her, people or gems don't want to trust her. Pretty much. Yeah,
they were basically all trying to kill him because of Rose, and also all refused his help because of Rose.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know how to feel
stuff.
I don't know how to feel about Rose anymore. Yeah. She's supposed to be the perfect leader, but look at her now. Yeah. Wow. And the one to save Steven from all this was, of course, Connie, much like Ruby saved Sapphire from being overwhelmed.
Sapphire saved Ruby.
Oh, yeah. Well, they also did that too. So, yeah, that was good parallels there. So, yeah, that was a really good episode. I think that's pretty much all. Like, we went from the beginning to the end, and there was a lot of good stuff in between there.
Yeah, and I really love how they tied that theme of accepting the bad things that happen and then moving on from them instead of trying to hide them or not feel them or feeling guilty for having feelings about certain bad things that happen. I really love the way this show presents different messages and lessons and stuff. It's really, really brilliantly done. Brilliantly done. I can't talk.
It's okay. I also love how they showed like how there's two different types of people, or like, that's two variations of, some people get overwhelmed by just one thing, while others it takes all this to pile up until they finally break. So
and that's Steven.
I know, yeah, I feel for him.
Yeah. I got a little teary-eyed at that part. Got a little emotional.
Oh, they all got teary-eyed. The whole Steven and Connie, emotional mess there. But that's what's so great about these episodes, I think.
Yeah, it was a really, really good episode.
Okay, so I think that about wraps it up for this week's episode. We'll talk about next week's episode. Do you know what that is?
I've no idea. No
okay,
clue.
I know Gem Hunt is coming up. I don't know. Oh, I think it's
Harvest?
Future Boy Zoltron.
Oh yeah, what does that even mean?
Well, I mean, Future Vision could be Sapphire, and then Zoltron is actually like one of those mind reading attractions that you see at theme parks. I was just at one the other day, and they had this one called Zoltar. That like gives you a little thingy after you put your money in. So I was like, oh, that's probably what it's gonna be about. So I think we did see a promo, like from the promo, there was like an image from it maybe. I didn't analyze the promo too much, surprisingly, but yeah. So that might be next week's. If not, we could always correct that.
Yeah, it might be like some type of big parody or something like that.
Yeah, really exciting. That about wraps it up. Thank you guys for watching, and look forward to next week's analysis on the episode.
See you guys.